You know those eerie feelings you get when you're playing a multiplayer game and there's no one in the server apart from you? For instance, boot up Minecraft right now and scope around for a deserted server that is still running, but has no one on. Feels pretty weird, right? Well, this is what my hobby was. Going around these barely running games and seeing that the people had left behind. Not just Minecraft either. Counter-Strike, Team Fortress 2, World of Warcraft. I use all of these games to explore the special servers nearly every day. I logged down what was on them: buildings, maps, announcements, and then my friends would come along and build on what I had documented. I would get paid $50 for every server I cleared, depending on the size, though. So, anyway, I'm sitting there sipping my Coke when my unnamed friend, due to security reasons, rings me up on Steam and says that there is something really big indie game map that has just been abandoned, and he wanted me to check it out. He also mentioned that the map was larger than normal, so he would pay me around $100. I accepted, and I went to download the client. It was an old website. The design was pretty poor and it didn't look very popular, so I speculated that it just wanted me to see if it was working. I created an account and booted up the game. It looked normal enough, sort of like a Second Life, that game where you play as yourself and run around and build stuff. I started at the server maintenance screen, went over some of the hosting stats, and found that the server was being run by a single tower that had a proxy. I couldn't list the location to get the proper ping to report to my friend, but since he was probably going to delete it, I guess I would just make it up. I scanned over the other servers. It seems like this was the only one active. He was probably going to wipe it and demolish the company project, so I guess that was why I was getting such a big bonus for sure. I logged into the server and the loading screen came up. Hints, a bar, and some pictures of people playing. You know, the usual. After the screen had completed, my avatar was dropped into the little forest, which I assumed would be outside of any main city or town. I walked forward, hoping that some sort of tutorial would guide me around, but nothing happened. The graphics were quite advanced for a game its age. The forest spanned for ages, and the trees were like that of the Iwu forest in WoW. I told all this to my friend as we kept the channel open for fast communication. After walking around in the forest for about 20 minutes, I came to a bigger than normal tree. It had this large door on the front of it that looks like as if it was carved into the wood by hand, kind of like one of those Nightmare Before Christmas doors. The cursor came up with the interaction symbol. The screen went black and my voice channel cut out. There was no loading screen, only the sound of a poorly looped 8-bit music that was on the last loading screen. I waited and waited until finally the game came back along with my voice channel. The only thing in the entire tree was a big mirror, totally separated it from the middle of the other half. My character walked up to the tree, without me controlling it, and put his hand towards the reflection. After this, I was suddenly brought to my desktop. Along with the icon of the game, all the files were missing. The website had only vanished along with it. I asked my friend if he cut the server and he replied with an innocent, "No." He transferred the money to my PayPal and logged out. So I go to bed tonight thinking about what I would spend my $100 on as I drift to sleep. I wake up about 6 times that night, always seeing that damn tree. It's not even scary, just annoying. They're a vividly recreated mirror just like in the one out of the game, and I keep touching it. I get up around 6 a.m. after being unable to sleep, deciding to hop on the computer for the weekend and rummaging around in the Steam for any good deals. I get about halfway through watching some Saints Row trailer when I get invited to play some CSS. The name was added to my friends list, but I don't recognize him at all. The name, actually resembling mine, kept flashing, and after a couple of minutes, I decided to oblige. The server was pretty normal, just us two, with no announcement and him and myself on the opposing team. It must have been peer-to-peer because the server name was exactly the same as mine. I bet it was my friends pulling a prank on me. After I'd gone through the options and gotten my game all set, I decided to buy a AWP to shoot this guy up with. But whenever I pressed the key, It assigned to bind. The game froze and went back to normal about 2 seconds. I decided it was some buggy server coding and continued to game with a trusty old Glock. After I ran out of spawn, I heard a faint laugh or giggle from the other side of the map. I brushed it off as a plugin script and kept running around. I looked for this guy for about 10 minutes until I was about to leave. Then I saw him, right in the corner of my eye, running under the walkway. I followed him under, but when I reemerged on the other side, I saw not the other side of the map, but the inside of a big tree and a large mirror stretching across my screen. The reflection was not of the terrorist I was playing as, but of me, sitting there on my keyboard. I threw my headset off and checked my webcam, and nothing was turned on. What the hell is this? In the reflection, my hand extended from my mouse and began cutting into my arm with its nails, smiling and giggling the entire time. I screamed and turned off the computer before fading to black. My face flashed on the screen, all distorted and rotted. I waited about 4 days before turning the computer back on. I needed to do this, for work. I turned the computer back on and started Word. The program immediately shut down and began booting up Battlefield 3. What? I wasn't even using Battlelog. This was too suspicious. I was about to turn my computer off in fear of seeing my doppelganger starting to get all cutty again, but then I saw I wasn't invited by my old friend. The server was pretty normal, just a squad DM on Caspian border. I spawned in and selected my weapons. After this, I alt-tab and opened the chat with my friend. "Hello?" I said into the mic, but only static returned. "Come on, dude, don't do this to me now," I said in hopes of getting a response. "Whatever, let's just play." I ran around the map, looking for my friend amidst all the bushes and trees lining in the gas station. I saw a model run behind the building. It didn't look like a silhouette of a normal in-game model. And that's when I remembered Dust 2, and I decided to turn the computer off, reaching up to the power button and pressing it once. I looked back down up to my screen. All I could see was that all the trees now bore the same door. Oh shit. The power didn't turn off as my character walked unattended towards the largest of the tree. The door opened, and guess who was sitting against the mirror? Sitting exactly like me. My doppelganger stared blankly into the screen. He changed since the last time I saw him. His eyes were sunken. His bones were nearly visible over the fleshy creases of his face and skin. He grimaced and started jabbing himself with a piece of wood. I screamed as his actions replicated on my body. I reached for the cord as a piece of splinter wood started cutting into my chest. I finally grasped the cord and pulled it out. The laugh and screaming died down on both ends of the voice channels. I was rushed to the hospital and received around 60 stitches for my cuts and gashes. I sold my computer when I returned home that day. A couple of days have passed, and things were looking down for me. I lost my job after having too many days off. Still thinking about that tree and my doppelganger. I began walking around the interior of my home, thinking about what I could do. I thought about the mirrors, me, the insanity, and how I could overcome this bastard. Then it clicked. The mirror and trees. I needed to get back to the game. Knowing the website was down, I realized I needed to host it. I bought a cheap Dell computer from the local store and set up the peer-to-peer host in the hopes I could get just me and this bastard in one room again. The server pinged online as I entered what I remembered to be the host. There were hashes and strings of code from any file residue I could find. After working about 3 days, I finally got the server back online. The web address worked, and I braced myself as I clicked log in. The page was different. It had pictures of me losing my job, as well as my loved ones, and crying people being killed, beheadings, tortures, cannibalism, and decapitation lined my screen as the game played the same howling noise as when I first met this doppelganger. I logged in. The loading page going black once more, and I was dropped into the forest again. It was different. Gore and blood splattered the entire landscape, and bodies hung from the branches. They followed me with their black, cold eyes as my character progressed through the environment. In real life, I was shaking. The barriers of the game and reality slowly drifted apart as I advanced deeper and deeper into the forest. I was walking on my own now, with no keyboard or mouse, just me in real life. I continued falling over the corpses as I kept going. I have to do this. I keep saying to myself, I have to, until I finally came to the tree. I braced myself and walked towards the main door, screaming still ringing in my ears. It slowed to mere giggles as I approached the mirror. I saw myself covered in blood, elongated features with black eyes looking at me. It started rasping and crawling towards me, breaking the mirror. Now was the time. I pulled out a pocket mirror with all my strength and showed it to my doppelganger. I heard a massive burst of scream echoes, making my eardrums bleed as I held the mirror with all of my willpower. I suddenly awoke in my room, on the floor, covered in blood with the mirror laying in my left. I calmed down. It was over. It was really over. I got up and collected myself. After a quick shower and a glass of water, I got in my car and drove as fast as I could to the nearest bridge over water. I held the mirror, threw it down into the water, and began to walk home, safe and a hero after defeating the doppelganger. But that's why I'm writing this now, to save you the trouble of all of this. Be cautious whenever you join any type of empty or abandoned servers. You might just start to hear laughing and giggling echo towards you. If you encounter your own doppelganger, I fear the worst for you. A couple of months ago, the police dredged lake around the country and found mirrors exactly like the one I used to defeat him my first time. I have a hunch he won't make that same mistake again.